Welcome, everyone, to the Better Love Movement podcast, where you will finally learn how to intentionally do dating and relationships right. My name is Anitastoudmire, and I'm a licensed professional therapist and your personal love mentor. I've worked with thousands of singles and couples, giving them the skills needed to attract and keep the amazing love they desire. It's my heart's work to help people to get the skills needed to not only become the very best versions of themselves, but to help them grow and evolve emotionally and relationally. You can absolutely have the romantic relationship of your dreams. Come and let me show you how. Hello, everyone, and welcome back again to the Better Love Movement podcast. We are in a brand new year. I'm super excited. And guess what, ladies? It is Man Crush Month, the month of January, where I interview nothing but men to talk to us about dating and relationships and all things healthy love. We get a man's perspective this month, and I have some amazing men lined up for you. So today I have one of those men on the podcast. His name is Kev Hick, and he is with girltalkwithguys.com. He also has a YouTube channel. That's how I discovered him. So today we are in episode number 143. It is entitled The Number One Thing Men Want from Women. So let me tell you a little bit about Kev. I discovered Kev Hick on YouTube about 2 years ago, and I love the simplistic style of his videos. I loved his honest candor in talking to women about dating and relationships. So he is a dating and relationship coach that also happens to be married, which is pretty uncommon in the male dating expert arena. I'm going to let Kev tell us a little bit more about himself and how he got started doing what he's doing. Welcome, Kev.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
So tell us a little bit about how you got into this sphere of dating and relationships.
I'm just being what I've always been to the people I know, to strangers now. That's the best way I can describe it. Since I was a young kid, when my mama first gave me a permission to have phone calls, I was the counselor in my friend group. I was the problem solver in my friend group. First started having little girlfriends in 3rd and 4th and 5th grade, spending hours on the phone, realizing that I was just a counselor to the girlfriends and a problem solver, in middle school, the nicest guy in school, all of these different things. I've always had this role amongst my peers of just being a trusted confidant and someone who cared. It's my nature. I can tell you that this like the culture of empathy that was bred in me through an interesting experience. So my mom suffered with alcoholism when I was a kid. So while a lot of kids were playing and doing whatever kids were doing, I spent a lot of Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday evenings in the basements of churches and Alcoholics Anonymous meetings, listening to the life experience of adults who hadn't really got it right and were trying to figure it out, right? Or lead meetings for people who had overcome their addictions, but were telling the story to those who had not yet overcome those. So 5 years old, I'm 10 o'clock at night with a coffee in my hand, listening to someone's story about what drugs they took or what they did to get their next hit or their next drink. It bred in me a sense of empathy because from a very young age, I was just studying people. And I realized that the issues that people had were based on those relationships that they started, whether they were family dynamic or romantic. Relationships were a huge thing that needed to be managed amongst people to save not only those individuals, but our people in general. I've always been a big picture thinker, so I've always taken a real personal type of responsibility toward at least the experiences of those around me. When I got married, obviously you got a woman. You can't necessarily be the problem solver and the friend for every person around you, male or female. You have a family, you're developing your own thing. My wife was realizing that was a part of me that was being underserved. And I go on these rants while we're in the car, and she's always like, well, hell, I got you. I don't need to know this shit. Right. Somebody needs to know. Right. Why don't you start a YouTube channel? Somebody could be helped by this. you already did that. It was how you used to do it. Now you don't have a lot of female friends. You don't do that anymore. We're married, obviously, but somebody could be helped by this. Why don't you start a channel? And that's what I did. I started a channel and just continued to be the person I had always been to my family and my friends. And that's how it started.
Wow. Well, your channel is doing great. I mean, it's incredibly popular. And again, your style is so different, you know, because I think it started out with either, were you in your car? Was it the white background? It was
It
very
was
simple.
my first videos were terrible. They were on the iPhone 6,
Yep.
white background, but it was
Yep.
changing colors because the iPhone 6 couldn't handle the white,
Hmm.
hyper white. Eventually, I got a camera, 20 videos in, and it's
Hmm.
been white background for maybe 3 years in a row. Right
Okay.
now, I'm in a temporary home. I don't have my film studio because we're building a house. So
Okay.
now they're car videos. I hate being in the car because
Mhm.
everybody tries to, compare it to other people who've been in the car.
Right.
But it's just a temporary office for me because we're in a temporary apartment while I build up my new house. We're literally building a house, so I don't have my old studio, which
Right.
puts me in a car. I hate it, but right now they're in the car. And so
Okay.
it's just, I either can stop helping people
Mhm.
or just give you this game in the car. And so that's what I'm doing right now.
Right. And the message is going to always be bigger than that. That's what I've
Right.
always told people, that when the message and the messenger is charismatic and it speaks to people's soul, the rest of it really doesn't matter. So I'm glad that you are continuing throughout. And then, you know, you get into your house, you have your amazing studio, and there you go. So
Yeah.
awesome. Awesome. Okay. So I had a chance to check out your most recent YouTube video. This video spoke to me because I am actually in the process of writing my second book, and it is all about teaching women how to be in a relationship with a man. So I was like, oh,
Mhm.
that fits. So ladies, Do Well, A Feminine Woman's Guide to Relationship Success is on pre-order right now on Amazon. There is a link below this video, so please check it out. A lot of my followers know about my first book, which was all about choosing a good man, because a lot of women
Right.
suck at choosing. I tell them that all the time. You all suck
Right.
at choosing a good man. So this video was entitled "The Number One Thing Men Want from Women and 5 Ways to Give It to Them." So great, great advice. I'm going to go through each one of them, and I'd like for you to kind of expand on each one. So the first
Okay.
thing you said was express that you believe in him.
Right. So just to preface this, the number one thing boils down to emotional security.
Hmm.
Right. And these were the 5 ways to give a man emotional security. And express that you believe in him is important because for the longest, it's been my criteria for trusting my relationship.
Hmm.
I'm a man who believes in myself. I've always thought that I was destined to affect people. I didn't know how I would affect people. I would have never imagined it was YouTube.
Hmm.
I just wouldn't have taken that idea seriously. But I've always known that I was supposed to make an impact, a great impact, not just on the family I wanted one day, but on others, right? When I was dating, when I realized that a woman either didn't realize that same ability in me or that potential in me, or she didn't recognize it as I recognized it, it was a red flag that maybe she wouldn't honor the portions of me that I was hoping to let flourish one day and exhaust, right? So, um, express that you believe in him is serious because most men who are looking for a partner need to first believe in themselves. And sometimes when someone that you respect and you love and you have a reverence for believes in
Hmm.
you, it fills you in those weak moments where you don't always know if you're who you think you are or who you want to become, right? You always need someone as strong an influence on you to believe that you can when you don't believe you can, right? And
Right.
so it's important to hold each other up in those weaker moments, and that strength is usually something that is fleeting for us in moments of failure or discouragement. No one can encourage you like your woman, but she
Right.
has to believe you're worth it, and she has to believe in your cause and be down with it. And so that's the huge one. But when it's given to a man, there's nothing like it. There's no more secure man than the man who understands that his wife or his girlfriend or his woman, his partner, believes in his goal, his mission, and his ability to achieve it. Right.
Mm.
So it's an amazing
Awesome.
thing to do and offer your man.
Awesome. Awesome. And so I speak to the women about the importance of admiring and respecting a man. Like, it surprises me how many women are with men that they don't admire or respect. So
Yeah,
I believe that if you admire or respect him, this will be easy to do. So
right,
good. Okay. Second one is don't compete with the people and things that he loves.
right. Um, I always say within reason.
Hmm.
I have to say that because there's an assumption that I'm saying, well, let him out, let him have fun, let him do this, let him do that, let him be considerate. That's not what I'm talking about.
Hmm.
My issue is that a lot of us want to be prioritized in areas and places of a person's lives where we shouldn't be the priority,
Mm,
right? We both do this,
yep.
but women more so than men because it's emotional, right? It becomes, oh, well, you don't love me because this other thing is as important as me. I don't. They're competing with your mother. They're competing with
Right.
with kids from a previous relationship, and
Mm,
exes that you don't even like it or love anymore.
right.
It's always show me how much you love me by the sacrifice you make in these other areas, and
Right. Right.
it's not absolute. Not all women are doing it, but the ones who are destroy their relationships.
Right.
And
Yep.
so it's important to let a man have his balance and let a man continue to be what and who he was before he got you. Assist him in his growth and his evolution, but don't try to become and encompass everything that he is,
Hmm.
because he was great before you met him, and it was because he was him, and you
Mm,
added yourself into that you even liked him. You liked him. You didn't like
right.
you. And when you step into a man as if he's some empty, hollow shell and fill
Hmm.
him up with you, you don't recognize the man anymore. And ultimately, women start to resent the guy who's become them because they were so forceful in making sure that they, infiltrated every portion of what he was before they met him.
Right.
So
Right.
it doesn't just help you prevent resenting a man and being bored. It prevents him from resenting you for
Hmm.
stopping him from experiencing the greatness or the grandeur of his experience.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes complete sense. Number three is give random affection.
Yeah, I don't think a woman's warmth can be understated.
Hmm.
Right, the superpower that a woman has to affect a man's mood, his emotions, his energy, even his intellectual clarity. It's like I said, it can't be understated. Um, Unexpected affection is, how women say, well, they like romance,
Hmm.
they like surprises, they like flowers, they like candy, they like cheesy gestures. A man would like a simple hug from the back,
Hmm.
a simple kiss on the neck, or a random hand grab, right?
Hmm.
Women often think that because men aren't initiating these things that they don't like them, want them, or desire them, or even need them.
Hmm.
Sometimes men don't know how to do that and maintain whatever sense of masculinity they've held
Right.
themselves to, or whatever
Yep.
sense of masculinity they see you holding them to.
Hmm.
But that doesn't mean they don't need it. Men won't always say, I really had a shitty day. I just need a hug.
Right.
Man, I just want to be held right now.
Hmm.
We can't say that. We're not allowed to say that. Who can say that and still be considered an alpha male,
Right.
right?
Right.
All the garbage programming around that idea, right?
Hmm.
And so when a woman is randomly affectionate, it's like giving a man a flower. It's like
Mm.
making plans. It's like pick a romantic gesture that makes you
Yeah.
melt. That's what it is when a woman is loving without the
Hmm.
restriction of needing something back. It means a
Hmm.
lot. It
Awesome.
means a lot.
And men, a lot of men will tell me that their, love language is physical touch. So I tell women that, yes, men need to feel affirmed. And the way that we can do that is to connect with them physically, to touch them. So yeah, I 100% get that one. Number four is don't allow him to go unappreciated.
Yes, that's a big one because well, first of all, everybody understands the need for appreciation. We
Hmm.
all want our credit. We all want our flowers. A lot of people say they don't. A lot of people will pretend that they're doing it from the kindness of their heart and that they don't
Right.
want any credit or acknowledgement. That's not true. Human nature dictates that we want our flowers.
Right.
We might want them in different ways, but we want them. When a man is serving his family or his woman, it might not be in the ways that she wants. It might not be in the ways that she understands to be love, right? It might not be her love language, but it's his way of loving.
Mm-hmm.
Just because a man's not speaking your love language doesn't mean you don't acknowledge what he does to show love, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference between him not knowing your love language and him not loving you, right? His effort to love you in the ways that he understands love to be performed means as much as whatever he might do in relation to your love language. So while a man might need to learn how to love you in a way you better receive it, the worst thing you can do is ignore what you don't like as a love, or what you don't prefer, just because it's not the thing that gets you warmed up, or it's not the thing that melts you. Acknowledge his good. When you acknowledge a man's good, it gives him incentive to figure out how to be better, how to become great, how to affect you more. If you're appreciative, you'll find that he eventually finds and targets your love language. But until you, excuse me, until he gets in this position where he feels that reciprocation, he feels energy for giving energy, he'll give you the minimal effort. And that's human nature. Human nature is to work until we feel unappreciated, and then work a little bit less. That's why we're all wonderful employees the first 3 months. 90 days. And then we're mediocre employees for the next 20 years. Because we were unappreciated. There was not enough incentive built in, and morale wasn't protected. If you show appreciation, to your man, you protect the morale in the relationship.
I agree. And Dr. John Gray has talked about this numerous times, that when you appreciate even the smallest things that a man does for you, he wants to do more. He wants to do more. Like you said, it builds on the morale. So I tell women that, yes, I have my couples that come into session, and the man says things like, well, I'm here, aren't I? I pay the mortgage, and I cut the grass, and I do this and I do that. And she, it like is nails on a chalkboard when she discredits all of that. Or I always tell women, the one thing you all say that just makes a chill go down my spine is when you say things like, you're supposed to do that. Like, oh God, don't ever say that. Don't ever say that. Just appreciate what he's doing. And that's how you're going to give him the incentive, like you said, to do more. So I 100% agree with that one. Okay. And then number 5 was respect his voice, opinion, advice in areas he is equipped to lead.
I think it's important to recognize that we pick our partners not just for their sexual value, excuse me, but we pick them for their effect on us. And hopefully we're picked for our effect on them. The worst thing you can do, well, besides the rest of this list, the worst thing you can do is disregard or dismiss a man, because it removes from him the power he thinks he has in a relationship to affect you. If a man doesn't believe he affects you in a good or bad way, he starts to feel indifference, right? You want someone to feel something. People, it's this quote that says, people won't remember what you did or what you said all the time, but they always remember how you made them feel. A person wants to know that they made you feel something. In show business, if an actor is good enough, but not electrifying, or if they're good enough, but not an irritant to the viewer, they're removed from the show. They don't want to see indifference to actors. They want to see hatred or love. That's true. That's true. You have to make someone feel something. So when we're talking about respecting a man's voice, obviously he wants to be on the love portion of that spectrum. But a man who respects himself, a man who prides himself on wisdom, knowledge, discernment, judgment, he wants that acknowledged, like I said, that appreciation or that acknowledging his good parts, but also he wants to know that his gifts can be used for your benefit, not just the benefit of his job and all these other people. He wants to know that you hear him and you value his wise counsel, his opinion, his direction. If you don't hear his voice, then eventually he stops using his voice. Just like a woman who's been muted, just like a woman who's been told to shut up, stay in a woman's place. When you don't listen to your man and he's right, just because you don't like what he's saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's about a life improvement or a way you're handling something, or your job or anything like that. When you start to dismiss his wisdom and his counsel as he gives it to you as a friend, because a relationship is just a best friendship with sex and a bunch of compromise, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you start to dismiss that friendship that he's offering you through trying to help you solve your problems, through using his intellect and his mind and his energy to try to fix something for you or with you,
Mm-hmm.
it steals from him the impact that he perceives, right? The energy that you give him back, it doesn't reciprocate the impact that he wants. And when a man is trying to solve your problems, it is an act of love, whether it's through advice or through service, it is an act of love. So you're dismissing his love and you're dismissing his friendship when you just ignore the things that he tries to tell you, and when he tries to lead you in the right direction,
Right.
because you don't want to hear it.
Right.
And and again, this goes both ways. No man should shut his woman up. I speak a lot of my videos about a muted woman and how detrimental that is, and how small a man has to be to mute his woman on purpose, right? So it goes both ways. If your man knows what he's talking about, listen to him. It makes him feel stronger as a team.
Yep.
It makes him feel respected. It's a display of respect to listen to wise counsel.
That's true.
That's why in all, like if you look at all the, pick an ancient culture, or pick a culture that holds in high regard their elders, whether you go to Africa or whether you go to Asia or wherever. The culture is you shut up when the oldest person in the room is talking, you listen to them, and you go do what they say. I don't give a crap what culture I don't know if there's a place in the world except America that dismisses their eldest their eldest minds and their eldest spirits around them. And so for in the way that we would respect them for their wisdom and their experience, when a man is equipped, respect him when he opens his mouth. That way he stays engaged in what you're going through. A lot of women wonder why their man don't listen. It's because they don't listen. And he's picked it up. Why would I invest myself in this? And when I give you the answer, when I give you the solution, when I try to collaborate with you, you don't listen. You don't want my help. You just want me to listen. Well, that's a waste of energy. You just want to complain about the problem. You don't want to solve it. Men are problem solvers.
For sure.
So if you don't want the problem solved, don't listen, or don't yap about it. But yeah, just respect him, give him that honor and that reverence, and it'll be reciprocated to you 10 times over with the way he listens to you and hears you and considers you.
Excellent. I 100% agree with that one. But like you said, unfortunately, our modern day culture is set up where women, especially this fourth wave feminism, women are feeling like, oh, we've been so oppressed and our voices have been muted and we're going to talk and we're going to talk and talk and talk. I'm like, sometimes you just need to be quiet. I'm like, oh, so I digress on that one. Okay. So speaking of modern day culture and the time that we find ourselves in right now with dating and relationships, and this is so fascinating to me because as someone who grew up in the 80s, and I'm dating myself here, but as someone who grew up in the 80s and the 90s and saw how relationships then were, and marriage was so, like that was the thing to do, to be in love and to be in relationship and to get married. That was the thing to do. And men believe that, women believe that, but now men and women, we're in this like gender war where the men think the women are wrong, the women think the men are wrong, and we can't seem to come together. And so what's your take on what we've seen? It's really been in the last like 3 or 4 years that it's been polarized. What's your take on what's happening right now?
I think disdain has become culture. Unfortunately, in every aspect of our society, outside of Hollywood still tries to give you the love story because that's all they know how to write.
Right.
But like when we look at music always shows you exactly where we're going as a society. It just does. Yep. And listen to R&B from the 80s, 70s, 60s, 50s, 90s.
Yep, that's my music.
Hell, before 2005, if you wanted a woman to really take you seriously, you had to on a music video, you had to cue the rain, wear some leather, get those leather pants knees, dirty and wet because
Yep.
you had to get on your
Go on your
knees in the
knees and-
rain
yep.
and sing. And if you didn't throw about 14 babies,
See, that's it.
if you
Yep.
didn't serenade that woman, damn it, you
Yep.
didn't have no woman.
That's
She
it.
was getting on the plane, she was getting in the car, she was getting in the
Mm.
taxi, and she was leaving your ass.
That's it.
Now, for whatever reason, all of the singers are coming out saying the types of things that Too Short would have said in a rap song. All the singers are calling women bitches and hoes. All the singers are talking about how high they're going to get before they bang some girl.
Right.
All the singers are showing disdain for women.
Yes.
So
yes.
you're not going to get you're going to get the disdain from rappers because they're already our lowest common denominator. They are the most ignorant in our community and they have a microphone.
Right.
But then the singers used to be men who were in touch with, their feminine side.
Yeah.
If not just their base of masculinity, which is a man's partnership with a woman and his building of a family, right? His family values are the base of his masculinity, used to be, right? So a man on his knees singing in the rain related to the man watching the video. They were like, I wouldn't have worn leather, but I would have saw, I wouldn't have worn it, I would have begged, I done begged. Now it's like all the singers are coming out telling the woman, get down on your knees and telling you love me.
Yep.
There's this meme that it shows a picture in 1994 of like first date, and the guy's holding flowers behind his back, and then it's like a shadow, it's like silhouette, and then it's like a meme from 2018, and the girl's on her knees after the first date, and it's very accurate because women have gotten so accustomed to disdain that their whole game plan has been to overcome the disdain by acceptance through any means necessary.
Right.
You have influencers. We've given everybody a microphone, and while I benefit from this culture, you might benefit from this culture. We're two people who actually give a damn about the impact of our words.
Right.
Most people are just pimping the system, like corrupt pastors, like corrupt. Pick a profession where people can be corrupted, right? Humans are corruptible. So now we have the stupidest people, the most ignorant people, the most self-hating people, right? Especially in our Black community. Most ignorant, lacking knowledge of self, lacking knowledge in general, trying to be leaders just because they have a microphone and they found popularity, right? And now we have a shock value culture where our biggest influencers in dating aren't people like myself and you who are trying to give wise counsel to people who are looking to help their lives be improved.
Right.
We're watching people take their intellectual gifts and pimp them out for views.
Yeah.
Right. And their intellectual gift might not be wisdom. It might just be shocking statements.
Yep.
It might not be wisdom. It might just be a weaponized version of truth that is entertaining because it's drama. It looks like a train wreck. You can't turn away from it.
Right.
We have people who are put in a place and take on the title of helper, good Samaritan, but there's no good in them.
Yeah.
Right. And so when you have the lowest common denominator rappers, and I think that rap music has been as impactful as the crack epidemic for the Black downfall, because rap has never gone anywhere. It's only gotten stronger and more bigger and more marketable. They throw more money at the rap epidemic than they have at the crack epidemic. Yep. So if we're going to do anything, we have to do it with culture. We can't defeat that because Jewish companies are the ones funding our lowest common denominators with millions of dollars to keep the microphone in our face, telling us about drugs, crap, bitches and hoes, disrespect, and murder of our own people.
Right.
So that's the thing. People are raised up in this economy. They feel looked over. They feel downtrodden. They feel beat down by the treatment of other people, and then they then perpetuate that same abuse onto other people.
Right.
So between culture, between influencers, and everybody's a guru now. Everybody's an expert. Like I said, I'm not an expert. I used to say, listen, I'm just some guy from the internet, but I care about you. I want to help you. It's not as marketable. People think that helping women with relationship issues is like, oh man, that's a pimp game. That's you're pimping out women's pain. Do you know who really makes money? The ones who pimp out the pain of a man.
Right.
That men go to Patreon and drop money. Men do more CashApp and men do more support. Overall, because men are run, the type of men that love this are run by the obsession with conquering women that they never had access to before they learned to manipulate. They will pay any amount of money.
Right.
And so you have men trying to live vicariously through the lives of these guys who they believe are cool. You have women now finding their superheroes and women who have disdain for their own bodies and lives, let alone the women who watch them. So everybody's misguided, and there's almost no way to stop this train.
Right. And it's exactly what you said. The reason why I do what I do is I would like to affect the culture. And I know that's probably a macro issue, affecting the culture. But what we're seeing, unfortunately, is we're seeing the destruction of our family. We're seeing the destruction of marriage. We're seeing that it's like it's a trickle down effect. So when men and women are at each other's throats, they're not getting married. They're not staying together. They're not having families, positive families. And then our communities suffer. And I mean, we can just keep going from there. So yeah, we are in treacherous times right now. We really are. I never thought I would see this day. Like I said, I was raised on Jodeci, Keith Sweat. I mean, Keith Sweat's the king of banging. Like, I was like, what? Men are not doing this anymore. What is?
And he begged with a deep voice, and so you had to like,
wow, what's happening? But no, these men they're like, nope, I'm not getting on my knees or begging you or, telling you you're the most beautiful woman in the world. No, I'm not doing that. I'm like, what's happening? And now this is what I find as a woman so disdainful is that women are denigrating themselves.
Yes.
I'm like, wow. So this thing, you've talked us into calling ourselves, like you've talked us into, giving out free sex to a man we barely know. Yes. You've talked us into denigrating ourselves. It's not enough for the men to do it. Now women are doing it.
Yeah.
I never thought I would see this day.
I remember being 18 and, learning how to talk to women. You become pretty good at approaching women at that point. I threw myself in the ring and I was like, I'm going to approach every fine woman that walks past me between 16 and 18. You was going to get talked to. Walk past me. Nobody was safe. And I remember I talked to this one woman that she was a little bit older than me. And she was the lunch lady's daughter at my school. She didn't go to our school because she like 4 years older than me. But man, she was beautiful. And I seen her at the club one time and I said, hey, how are you? I tried to talk to her. And I remember she looked at me and I was good. I had practiced and everything and I'd been successful. She said, you need experience to talk to a bitch like me. And I was just like, I was like, and I immediately I realized well, I'm not looking for a bitch of any kind.
Right.
For her, it seemed to her to be very profound to tell me that.
Right.
Like she really stood up tall when she said that. She said, you cute and all, and I would, but you need experience to talk to a bitch like me. And I was just like, I was like, damn, she doesn't know who she is yet.
Right.
She's yet to discover it. And she's been told who she is. And if you don't know who you are in this world, the world will tell you whether you're a man or a woman.
That's it.
You will be a nigga, you will be a bitch, but you can't be a king. You can't be a king. You can't be a god. You can't be a goddess.
Right.
When I realized that I probably should get out this club trying to talk to women.
Right.
But also, we're in a very bad place. And now I need to look for a woman who doesn't identify with something that was meant for her denigration. But I need a woman who's going to uplift herself and look for her empowerment through the reverence that she receives from those around her. So it was a big lesson for me. Big lesson for me.
Yeah, but so my work with women, so I predominantly speak to women and work with women. I have a few male followers here and there, but my work with women is all about returning and reclaiming their femininity. That is the honorable thing. That's the honorable place. And so a lot of women, they come on my page and I speak about traditionalism. I'm very traditional as a woman. I teach them about how to be in a healthy relationship with a man and how to get their needs met, but also meet the needs of a man. Right. That doesn't make you less than, that doesn't make you weak. I am a proponent of marriage, which, a lot of people come for me about that. Yes, I want to see you get married. I want to see you have a family. I also, which I take a lot of hits on this, I encourage women to abstain until they're exclusive and committed or married. that sex is not a recreational fun thing to do. Like that's something that we save for someone that loves us, that cares about us, that respects us, that wants to be with us, right? We're not going to use sex for fun, because it's too powerful. We can create another human being by having sex. So
Absolutely.
yeah, well, that's nothing to play with.
I'm very big on that. But as a man, you're already stepping in mud anytime you start referring to what a woman should do with her, So it's like while listen, I am a proponent of at the very least 90 days.
Right.
But really, when I get on my clients, I do, girl talk with guys.com is where people book calls from me. And so I do talk to a lot of clients. I'm thousands of people in. I think I'm closer to 5,000 or 4,000 at this point. But I always tell my clients, the first thing you need to do if you're looking for a healthy relationship, if your relationship health is the goal, if partnership is a goal, and not just a fling or not just another experience or not just another, sexual encounter, then you need to stop having sex with men who don't love you. At the very least, if a man doesn't love you, he shouldn't be on top of you sweat.
That's it.
And for me, I can tell that to an individual because I can provide context and we can discuss, and it's not a sexist attack on women because we talk about this feminism, how it's morphed, and it doesn't even serve the same purpose that feminism used to serve.
Well,
there are a few purposes. For the first purpose was to defeat the Black woman, and then the second purpose came in, and it was wonderful, it was beautiful, it was empowering, it was inspirational, it was motivational. It changed and evolved women for the better, and then it's fallen to this everybody screw everybody, and that's your superpower, is to screw as many men as possible. So I always tell my clients, if you want to cut this garbage out, stop having sex with men who don't love you, and you don't have to worry about this. You can, whether it takes 90 days, 120 days, whatever. Don't screw a man who's not in love with you, and trust me, you don't have to have all these conversations with me about yet another one biting the dust.
That's it. That's it. And I'm glad you said it, but I say it. I say it to my platform. I take the heat. I'm never going to get off of that, because I know that men and women are biologically very different when it comes to that. And women can't have sex like a man. That's what they don't want to accept. But guess what? Biology is undefeated. So sorry.
Absolutely.
Biology is undefeated. The last I checked, you are not evolutionarily designed to have sex the way a man does. And I'm okay with it. I am totally okay with it. So this has been an amazing conversation. I know my listeners are loving this. I know they're going to share this conversation. Thank you so much, Kev, for joining me today. Is there something you want to promote on the show today? A product or a service?
Like I said, if anybody needs coaching, they can go to girltalkwithguys.com. But if you want to get familiar with me, if you don't know if I'm capable or has the wherewithal or the wisdom or the understanding to help you with your issue, check out my YouTube channel. It's Kev Hick, Kev space HICK, Kev space HICK, Kev Hick, no S. People always want to put the S on there. My name is Hickman, not Hicksman. So if they go to my YouTube and check out girltalkwithguys.com and get acquainted with me, I think I can help them with their issues. But if not, they can be helped by over 300 videos on my channel, just geared toward trying to give them a better life experience.
Yes, for sure. There are a few male influencers or YouTubers or people who have social media platforms that I recommend to women, and you are one of them. So like I said, I've been telling people that there aren't many, there's like 5, but you happen to be one of them. And I'm like, yes, check out his videos. He has nothing to gain. He's happily married. He's just giving you, real talk, real facts. Right? So the end. So yes, definitely go over there and check out the YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. Ladies, if you are not subscribed to the podcast, if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, I don't know what you're doing with your life. So please, wherever you're listening to this podcast on, whether it's you're watching it on YouTube or you're listening on Apple iTunes, on Stitcher, Spotify, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, please consider subscribing and become a regular listener. This is a community. This is a family of women who are helping women to be their best selves. That's one of my goals. I want to help you to be your absolute best self. If you'd like to know more about me, please check out my website, betterlovemovement.com. You can find out all about my coaching services, all of the products that I have there, my ebooks. You can head over to Amazon and click to get the book that's already out. It's called Choose Well, A Simple Formula to Determine the Best Man for You. And you can pre-order the new book that's coming out next month. It's called Do Well, A Feminine Woman's Guide to Relationship Success. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Better Love Movement podcast. And as always, stay open to love. Thank you for listening to today's podcast episode. If you are enjoying this podcast, please leave me a 5-star rating and review. Your ratings and reviews help me to continue to bring you more great content. Head on over to YouTube and check out the Better Love Movement channel. There's more video content there, and you can subscribe to be notified when a new video is posted. If you have a question that you would like to have answered on the podcast or in a YouTube video, please send it to me at info@betterlovemovement.com. You can also connect with me directly on the Magnify app to have your dating and relationship questions answered. That's Magnifi, and it's available on iOS and Android. You get your first 5 minutes for free. So give me a call and let's chat.